This video is going to look at the immediate, short-term and long-term effects of exercise. First, we're going to look at the immediate effects, so things that happen to you while you're exercising. First thing that happens is your heart starts to beat faster. Resting heart rate, remember, is about 70 to 80 beats a minute, and that increases up to about 100 to 150 beats a minute, or even higher once you start exercising. Also, stroke volume and cardiac output increase, so more blood is supplied to the muscles, and with that blood you get oxygen and glucose. If you're unsure of what the words stroke volume and cardiac output are, have a little research of them and add them into your notes. Secondly, breathing rate increases. So usually at rest you have about 15 breaths a minute, and it'll increase up to about 30 or more breaths per minute when you're exercising. And the depth of your breathing also increases. So your tidal volume and gases exchange in your lungs, so getting oxygen into your blood, getting carbon dioxide out of your blood, also increases, because we want that oxygen and we need to get rid of the carbon dioxide. Another thing that happens during exercise is your body temperature starts to increase. Your muscles start to contract, and as they contract, they generate heat, and that increases your body temperature. And what your body does to try and cool itself down is it starts to sweat. So you lose heat by sweat evaporating off the skin surface. So your skin goes red when you start exercising, because the blood vessels near the surface of your skin start to open up, and you lose heat by radiation, or by the heat from the blood going out of the skin. As well as the immediate effects of exercise, you've also got short-term effects of exercise. So these are things that happen 24 to 36 hours after exercise, so maybe one day after you've done your exercise or played in your match. Our first thing is fatigue. So the day after, your muscles are going to be slightly swollen with fluids, and they're going to feel really heavy. And that usually passes after a day or two. You might also feel dizzy or lightheaded, and you might feel faint, which can be caused by low blood sugar. Remember, blood sugar and the glucose you're using for energy during exercise. So when you use all that, you're going to feel faint after exercise. And also, you get a drop in your blood pressure. You might also feel nausea, so feeling sick, which can sometimes be caused from overexertion or from ending an exercise session too abruptly. So you're going really high intensity, you then stop, and you can feel sick afterwards. You also feel sick from not hydrating enough during exercise, and therefore you can get headaches as well. And hard exercise causes less blood flow to your stomach, because you need all that blood going to your muscles. So the less blood that's going to your stomach might also make you feel sick, because your stomach's not getting the blood that it usually gets. Another short-term effect of exercise that we discussed a lot in class is DOMS, or that delayed onset of muscular soreness. Now, DOMS is a pain or stiffness in your muscles 1 or 2 days after exercise. It can be caused by eccentric muscle contractions. If you remember, that's when the muscles lengthen. And it can cause tiny tears in your muscles, which can lead to swelling. So your muscles start to swell up when you get those tiny tears. But remember, the muscles are supposed to tear, and they repair stronger afterwards, which is the main benefit of training. So in training, you tear your muscles, they repair stronger, and your muscles as a result will be more powerful and stronger. Muscles usually adapt quite quickly or rapidly, and preventing damage and soreness if exercise is repeated. So your muscles are trained to adapt quickly. They'll recover themselves really fast so that you can exercise again in a day or two. Remember, DOMS is not cramp. Cramp are painful muscle contractions that are caused by fatigue or dehydration or loss of minerals when you're sweating. DOMS is completely different. DOMS is those tiny little tears in your muscles that cause swelling and pain the next day. And finally, we're going to look at the long-term effects of exercise. This is a result of months or years of exercise. Now, the effects of regular training are not seen for months or even years after training is seen sometimes. So you have to be doing it very, very regularly. And these changes involve changes to the structure of the body. So things like the size of the heart, the size of the muscles, all of those things start to change. And various body systems all start to work more efficiently. Now, one of the big things exercise does, if you do it regularly, is help to reduce body weight. And your fat stores get used up as energy. So you burn off those fat and all those calories, and you start to lose body weight. And anaerobic exercise, so sprinting, weightlifting, they tend to increase the size of your muscles. Remember, we call that hypertrophy. When your muscles start to increase in size, the key word you want to get into your exam is hypertrophy. And these two factors mean that body shape can change as a result of exercise. You can lose weight and you can increase the size of your muscles. Anaerobic exercise involves moving heavy objects such as weights. And we've done a lot of work on anaerobic exercise recently. And they can help build muscular strength. Other exercises, the ones you do over and over again, like press-ups or sit-ups, can improve muscular endurance. And the muscles, tendons, and ligaments all around those joints can get stronger and become more stable. So you can see there's a range of different fitness components that can improve as a result of regular exercise. As well as muscular strength, muscular endurance, you can also increase your flexibility or suppleness of the joints. So your flexibility, if you do more exercise, especially stretching, can improve the movement around your joints. Other long-term effects can include increases in speed. So if you do a lot of interval sprint training, your cardiovascular endurance will improve if you do slower and more aerobic movements, and it will improve your endurance and your stamina. And also, long-term training like continuous training, because your heart is beating for long periods of time at a higher rate, your heart is a muscle and it will also increase in size. And we also call that cardiac hypertrophy. So your heart is a cardiac muscle and it gets bigger, so you've got hypertrophy, so cardiac hypertrophy. And a bigger heart can pump with more force and pump out more blood with each beat. And therefore, your stroke volume increases because of regular training. Your stroke volume, remember, is that amount of blood getting pumped out every single beat by your heart. So because your heart's bigger, it can pump out more and more blood every single beat. So hypertrophy occurs at a great change in overall size of the body. So your skeleton and organs stay the same shape, stay the same size. It's just your muscles start to get larger. So therefore, the amount of blood the body needs, or your cardiac output, how much blood the heart's pumping out per minute, generally will stay the same if you're just increasing the size of your muscle. The cardiac output is how much blood you're pumping out per minute. And how you work out cardiac output is you look at your stroke volume, so the amount of blood being pumped out every single beat, and you multiply it by your heart rate. So we'll go over that a bit more in class. At rest, cardiac output generally stays the same. The stroke volume can increase if you're doing a lot of anaerobic exercise. So what happens is your resting heart rate reduces. That's why they always say fit people have a lower resting heart rate. Because your stroke volume, your heart can pump out more and more blood. That means your resting heart rate must reduce.